All right, I'm back. Let's see if I can't. Oh, let me turn my little light on here. That's pretty good. Let's see here. That's all right. Okay. Anyways, let's show you guys what's going on now. So, anybody that was here, I was just on a little bit ago, and then I hopped off. I like to kind of record and just make one. I like to make one recording for the ProLUG for the week, and then that's our professional Linux users group security engineering course. And then I can kind of hang out a little bit because the wife is doing one of her friend's hair. So normally she's off busy in the mornings on Sunday, so I have a little bit of time here to hang out. So yeah, Linux developer, I'm on again. But what I wanted to show you guys was, we'll just hang out. I've got my setup here I'm going to play some Brotato and just kind of hang out and talk shop with you guys. If you guys want to know anything about the courses that we're doing or any of that kind of stuff, all you got to do is ask here or down in the Discord, and I'll kind of show you guys what's going on. So today this is 4 o'clock our time, so that's about 6 hours from now. If anybody wants to, there's a thing called the Writers Room. And what the Writers Room guys do is they put together these courses down here. So there's the Professional Linux Users Group Systems Admin course. There's a book that's free for you guys to get in on that deals with, by the way, it's free regardless of if you're in the group, by the way, but you can just go get it. But what the books do is they focus on what we're working on they kind of are like workbooks for the course. They are free. You can go get involved with them all you want. But the guys are still working through them and kind of getting some of the bugs out of them and stuff like that. So if you wanted to get involved with that and be like a contributor, that is something that's going on in about 6 hours on the Discord, right? Fair game. Then there's a study group on Wednesdays, and that's Linux admin. So that's for the first course, the 16-week course that's always been already been recorded. Right. And by the way, all the recordings, if you're ever looking for the recordings, they're all down here in the Discord under Beginner Start here. So Beginner Start here has all of the first courses that we've recorded, and then the first 6 of the 10-week course. Now, real quick, if anybody's doing the 10-week course, I got a little left curve to throw at you here. We are going to have a week 11 and 12, but I'm not going to add any work. There's going to be there's going to be discussion in there, and then not discussions that you have to do in the Discord, but discussion around tying it all together. I'm going to do 2 extra weeks because it's just been so much information, guys. Like I'm putting all this information out, and I get to the end of like yesterday, an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm like, I could have talked the subject that we did, and we just recorded in about an hour and 25 minutes. That's what we just recorded. I could have talked about that for another. I could have expanded that out, and we could have spent a whole bunch of time in all those different topics. But alas, we only have so much time, right? And there's only so much to do, so I'm trying to add more. Linux developer, you're trying to find a nice front-end web for your CalDev. I don't even know what that is, CalDev. I've never seen that tool. I don't even know what that is. Let me go look. So. What is this? CalDev. Oh, calendars and to-do lists. Nice. I've never used that. I've never even heard that term. Yeah. Okay. Internet standard for synchronize. Yeah, that'd be nice to be able to synchronize all the events. I just keep, honestly, my way of doing it is just I have my calendars open for my different teams and projects that I'm on. And actually today, the one saving grace about today is this. I don't have any college starting until tomorrow, either teaching or college that I'm going to. But as of tomorrow, I just can see my time's really going to restrict down. So when I go look at like what's it look like? Oh, Coffee Overland. It's funny you say that. I looked at the thing this morning. Now I'm not supposed to get any rain up here until 3, but it is supposed to rain all day tomorrow. So it was weird. Yesterday it was supposed to rain all day, and then the predictions changed and all that stuff. So yeah, it's funny stuff. Let me pull you guys up. I haven't looked at this in a while, but let me pull up my like my outline for the course, what I have, and that is here. Here's my syllabus, the one that I originally wrote. Let's go look down here at the next few weeks. So we did monitors and parsing logs. So that really just became for this week logs and log parsing. That's really what I did. But next week is going to be monitoring and alerting. So we're going to dig more into the monitoring part of it. And then Unit 8, we're going to do some configuration, drift, and remediation. That'll be heavily Ansible because that's how I do it. And then we'll probably touch some other tools as well that are useful. But then, oh, this is my original one. And then Unit 10 was recap. Okay, well, maybe I don't have... Hold on. Let me go look at what the guys have, because the guys have something different than me. Okay, yeah, well, I guess that is my 10th week. I'm still planning on adding time, because we're just going to need more to get everything done. We're gonna add and kind of tie all this stuff together at the end. Coffee over Land, you're doing a driving class part. Are you driving? Is it like did you get in trouble? In Arizona, if you guys don't know, we got this point system, and if you get over like 10 points in 2 years, you lose your license. But you can go, when you get a speeding ticket, you can go one time, I think, in every 2 years, and you can, oh, okay, coffee, it's a company thing, yeah, oh, okay, that's different then. But in Arizona, you can knock points off your license, but if you get points on your license, it starts to affect your insurance and stuff, so it's kind of like a interesting thing. Maybe that's like a nationwide thing, because I guess insurance would probably want that standardized. Man, I haven't looked at this in a while, so that's good. So we did monitoring, parsing, and logs today, and then next time we'll do monitoring and alerting, so it'll be good. And we'll actually send logs. I always tell you guys this, but this is very important. If you're part of our Discord and you don't like alerts or you don't like things popping up, you should go to a channel like Sandbox and mute the channel. And you can mute the channel until you turn it back on, like if you don't ever want to see. But like I had intended this week for us to send, actually last week, I had intended for us to send stuff to Sandbox and we never got around to it. But this next week, we're for sure going to be sending things into Sandbox, probably live during the course. So Coffee over Land, you're going to dive into Splunk. Nice. Yeah, we were talking yesterday down in the Discord with... Now it occurs to me as I think about it, you're not the one that was on Discord, where you don't have a different name on Discord than you do here, do you? That happens all the time, and then I'm like, well, shit, man, I know you like 4 different types. Like, I don't know who people are. Anyways, hey, Xshanya and Dimner over on YouTube. Hopefully it's, yeah, okay. I was like, wait, I was just talking to somebody about this. Yeah, so you guys got to remember, one, sometimes names change in general, because I know your name had changed on here, but then also, like, I don't always track who people are. So, yeah, I typically do once I get them mapped in my head a little better, but then you got to remember my unique brand of madness doesn't work well with names. So, all right. Middle of the week, we've got the Linux admin course study group. So if you want to get into the Linux admin course, but you're struggling or maybe you're behind, those are the guys to go talk to, because they're working through everything. But most of those guys are pretty good at helping you catch up too if you need. So they'll show you what to do. There's a security engineering study group, so that's on the course that we just recorded today. Again, we're up in Unit 6 of that, so there's a lot of work in these courses, guys. Like don't just think like, oh man, Scott runs this free course, so like there's no work to it. No, there's a lot of work to these courses. Like there's a lot of stuff I make you guys go read and do, because, well, I mean, how else do you get better at this stuff? I mean, you either just know it because you happen to know everything, and that is actually common to find on the internet, isn't it? But never mind that. Let's say that you want to actually learn how to do something. You got to go spend time with it. You got to study it, and you got to do whatever. So, yeah, I appreciate the lurk, Coffee over Land. Then there's Bash study group. So there's just all kinds of events. Next weekend, actually next Wednesday, so this Wednesday coming up, my wife's going out of town, so I'm going to be just hanging out at the house. So I will probably be on Discord more, and I'll probably be streaming a little more too, to try to get some of this stuff a little more organized for you. So, all right, I'm going to play a little Brotato while we're hanging out. But if you guys got questions or you want to talk about stuff, let me know. We're going to warm up. We're going to warm up with one of my favorite characters, which is the character who he uses his life to buy items. So it's kind of an interesting way of playing. I probably beat it on this guy, if I had to guess, probably about 40% of the time. I only play Brotato on the hardest mode, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. I don't play it on any of the easier modes. So, all right. Run Amucker, how's it going? We're not working too hard today. We already recorded everything, so now it's just kind of us hanging out. Some of you guys that have been around know Sundays are almost always for all labs. I just haven't... I spent a lot of time this weekend, like getting this one ready, and then we talked for a pretty long time yesterday. I did about an hour and 40 minutes, and then I just did an hour 25 this morning, like recording that course. So we're just kind of hanging now. If anybody wants to hang out and talk shop and check how Ranger's doing and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like you in computing. HPC equals computing on hard mode. Yeah. A lot of that stuff is just organizing your time and keeping stuff, we call it keeping plates spinning. Have you guys ever seen somebody that's like standing there and they got like bars in their hands and then there's plates spinning on them? Well, the trick to keeping plates spinning is keeping the plates spinning, right? So you just got to keep them spinning and the momentum keeps them going. But then you go, well, but isn't that the trick? It's hard to keep a bunch of plates spinning. Yeah, so we always joke around about spinning plates. That's what it is in the systems world, is being good at spinning plates. But really, there's a lot of tools out there nowadays, I think. For me, I tend to think of things as the next problem, and I tend to think of my day as meeting to meeting. So when I'm not in a meeting, I'm working on whatever problem, and then when the next meeting comes up, that's my problem. So I just get ready for the meeting and then go, and I don't know, that's kind of how I do things. That's how I do my engineering anyways. Keep good documentation throughout if you can. All right. See how we can do here. Playing a little Brotato, watching the system spin over there. Let's see. Anything that we pull up or talk about, I typically put over on that little carousel on the right there. Which, funny enough, it's not spinning again. I don't know why. I know it's not being maintained well anymore, but it's also not spinning. All right. See if it gets back to spinning like it should be. Range damage, more hit points, more damage and attack speed and range, and more damage and more regen. We'll hold on to that. Exshunya said, did Feynman not use spinning plates as an analogy of quantum states? I don't know. Possibly Exshunya. That's probably an accurate one. I never actually thought about that, but that's probably true. I haven't seen much of his lectures or teaching. I've only heard of him through reference by other people. But yeah, also to remind everybody, we do have a Linux, we do have a big virtual meeting coming up in August, if people want to come to that. That we did our first big one last year, so it was our inaugural. This will be our second annual, right? Because that's how that works. And we had over 100 people last year, and I expect us to have a lot more this year. We have a bunch of guest speakers that come and talk to you guys. They are from all over the industry, typically people I know from around the industry that just come and talk to you guys about systems and getting into technology if that's something that you're interested in doing. So we got that going, and then that's up in the Discord if you guys need to find any of that stuff. Actually, those events are already made. You just have to get in there and start working through them. Oh, is it all cams on for that? No, it's actually funny. Remember, so last year, actually, we didn't break anything there, but we did have to go to stages there, just for simplicity's sake of everybody being able to talk. And then I remember when we started our Linux sysadmin course the first time last year, we had over 200 people come. And the most we actually had in the course at any time, I think, was like 110. And you can't run 110 people in a normal Discord channel. You got to switch it over to a stage. In fact, we found there's a hard set at 25 people can't have their cameras on anymore. And at about 60, communication starts to break down. Like, I'll be talking, and I'll be the only one talking. People will be chilling. Everybody's got their mics on or their mute on. But you can't. it doesn't push the sound to everybody. I want to say it was probably limiting 40, 45 people, and people were like getting booted out of like the sound bubble, if you will. So then we switched it over to a stage, and it worked a lot better. So that's actually why we use a stage. If you ever wonder, it's not. I don't run a stage so nobody else can talk. I run a stage because that's the only way we can have more than like 60 people in a channel. And we have 140 people say they're coming. Normally on the actual Saturdays, we have probably around 30, 35 people that actually show up. But everybody says they're coming. They just don't always end up making it. So, Chico, you said, for the worksheet turn-in, do you have a preference for document format? No, I don't. When you're done, I do have, I guess, a preference that you just put them all together. I've had people turn those in via just like a GitHub link where they just keep all their notes out there so that they can show. By the way, that's a nice little GitHub project if people don't have one. You just have all the work that you did for like the course. Excuse me. We also have people have turned them into me as one big PDF. I'm fine with that. What else? People have done a bunch of different things. People have made Markdown. One of our guys made a really nice Markdown note page and just presented it on a Go page with like, I think Angular and React. He's the same guy who made our base. Our base page here made by this is all in Go by Treasure. Treasure wrote all this. He did this as his final project to turn everything in. You don't have to do anything that fancy if you don't want, though. Oregon, how's it going? We are hanging out and just mostly talking shop, and I'm playing video games and stuff and watching the system spin. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. We already recorded Unit 6 today. All of the lab courses for the Linux admin course, all that stuff's already been recorded, so I'm not re-recording those. So, Xshania, how's it going? Yeah, it was Treasure. Yep, Treasure, who mostly runs the writers group. So I think he might be out of town this weekend, or maybe he's back this weekend. But he runs that group that meets today for the writers. People that want to. The writers are working on these books and making them better for the community. These books are free. You can literally, like, if I give you this link, you guys can literally download the whole book. There's no anything here that costs you guys nothing as far as this stuff goes, right? This is all free. And then, yeah, just go and you got all that. All right. In case anybody's like, where's the book at? Well, it's all over the Discord, but I know sometimes when you first go into a Discord, it can be kind of daunting with all the channels and such. So I try to give that, because then even if you don't like doing Discord, which I know some people don't, you can at least have the you can at least know that you have all that stuff. All right, let's see if we can't survive this level. It's very important. The Alpaca said, my achievement last week was mixing Ansible and Netbox to populate switch interfaces in Netbox from a selection of Cisco switches. Nice. Nice, the Alpaca. That sounds like a nice little... was that professional or for fun? I always have to ask that, because sometimes we do stuff for fun that's pretty cool. And sometimes we do stuff professionally that's pretty cool. And both of them are... Yeah, that's the best one, is when you do it for fun, but then you get to take it into work and actually get paid, or put it as one of your deliverables for the year or something. Which, by the way, that's one of the things I tell engineers, is that end of the year, like your review, that your annual review is really for you, right? You're trying to tell your company the things that you did, because they remember that you were doing good things, but they don't remember the good things you did. So I'm always keeping track of like the work that I do, so that I can show like this is the value I provide to the company from a engineering standpoint, like what I do. So nice. All right, Rangers down there chilling. We are not working too hard. I'm just wasting time on Brotato. Fun little time waster, because you don't have to spend too much time, and then it's just a roguelike. So if you die or something, you just restart it or go about your day or whatever. It's not that big a deal. So That one almost got me. All right. Not too bad. Next box was able to feed Ansible for inventory. Nice. Ansible Cisco IOS module for pulling or pushing configurations. This case is able to provide a central interface to see switch interface. Nice. Yeah. Sounds like a nice, fun little practice and setup. Especially if it becomes like your production workflow, you know. All right. Let's grab these things. That's good enough for now. Wave 6. Nothing too bad on wave 6. Just don't die. Number 1 rule. Don't die. Don't die to dumb stuff for no reason. Oh, these guys are kind of annoying. But they're not as bad as they seem because they really only send along, let's say they send it along the cardinal directions, if you will. So it's not super difficult to dodge their stuff. It looks like they're sending out a lot of stuff, but it's actually pretty, straightforward to miss, you know, to avoid what they're doing because they only send things out at a certain angle, yeah, or a certain set of angles. All right, not bad. Not a bad run. Take the lemonade. Take the harvesting. Take more small fish. More experience. More regen and damage. More experience. Let's hold on to all this stuff. All right. Good Cisco talk going on there. That's nice. Yeah, we'll see. I don't remember anything in unit or in wave 7 being too bad. I ran right in that fucking thing. I saw him going that way, but I thought he was going to charge directly at me, and I still ran right into him. Very stupid. All right. Could always play the loud character. He's fun. He's fun because I get to play him with submachine guns. You don't play too many characters in this game with submachine guns because while they do all right, they're not great on damage later on. They're very extremely difficult to scale the damage on these submachine guns. So you can only get 50% of scaling for your damage, which is not great. So let's go with crit. More SMGs. Speed and damage. Get more crit. Alright. The one nice thing this guy does get is he gets double enemies though. So you say, well, double enemies sounds bad. Yeah, that's true, except you get double the material. Or, well, you get 50% more enemies, so you get 50% more materials on the ground. Which means that you get experience faster and level faster and all that good stuff. So this guy's pretty good. Pretty good for that. Alright. Take that. Take more crit. Take more SMGs. That's good enough. Good enough for government work. Coffee just got Logitech Mix Master, what was that, MX Master 3s, and found I cannot use Logitech software on Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you couldn't use Logitech on Linux. They just don't have any drivers. They don't have anything open source compatible. It seems like Seems like there would be something open source compatible for that. Yeah. All right. Take some more harvesting for now. Take more damage. And more damage. And we'll slow down the enemies. And more damage, more damage. All right. We're almost, I think next level is the one where you really get like this damage check, because you run into a whole bunch of these guys with armor, and it really messes up the submachine gun. You really have to have good damage to be able to handle them. So we'll see. Hopefully we get some more damage in between these rounds. All right, killed all those off. That's good. Kill all these off. Important. All right. Got to get to that. You always want to get to the trees because the trees give you little treasures. Take armor. Damage, damage, damage. Slowing them. And take this for more speed and range. All right. Get more damage. All right. The alpaca, you said you configured your Mixmaster 2 times, I think. Let me try. Nice. Ah, coffee over land. You might have to check. Yeah, you might have to check if it's being seen. So you're seeing on LSUSB, but when you bring it up and you're not seeing the modules loading either, that's a big part of it, like the modules and the drivers. You can start to see too if there's a driver set for your different hardware as well. You can dig on all that. There's a lot of ways to do that. But yeah, that's. Yeah, these guys have just way too many freaking hit points. Well, it's not that they have hit points; they have armor. So my guns do way less damage to them because of their armor. Those little shell crabs, and they come out just enough to make it like you can't dig through them all before the next wave of them shows up. You know, which makes it super annoying. You got to take out the artillery in the back line, and then as soon as you're done, you're back to having to kill more of those guys, right? And like, so that's the annoyance of these guys, is they just make your guns go to like only 1 damage. So super annoying. We'll see here. Yeah, we did not have a lot of off of that level. So all right, we got to do better this level. But again, that level was an anomaly. So now we should be able to catch up. That level will get you almost every time with submachine guns. And that's a super annoying part of it. Okay. All right. Just hoovering up all of the loot. Alright, there we go. More damage. And we'll take harvesting for now. Damage, damage, range. Damage. More damage. We gotta save it, but there we go. Alright. Fairly new Linux, so still learning. Nice. Make sure I have. Oh, I don't have the guy. Okay, I wanted to make sure if I didn't have any penguins, because if you have the penguins, then you should grab the fruit, even if you're not. Oh, jeez, I gotta stop running that guy. If you have the penguins, you should grab the fruit, even if you have full health. If you don't have the penguins, you shouldn't do that. And the reason is because if you have full health and you grab something while you have a penguin, then what'll happen is it'll put your regen up by 1 each time. So, like if you have multiple penguins, then you can just pump your regen up the entire level. It only works until the end of each level, though, so it's only so good. But it is kind of nice in the early levels to have it. I don't have any penguins right now, so it doesn't really matter. But just going. It's funny. All right, more. We'll take the free hit. It's always good to have the little tardigrade, because then you get a free hit. And all right, level 8's not too bad. Level 9 is the one that's kind of bad on this one. All right. I hate when guys do that. Like, I swear the game, like, it's got a certain distance an enemy will normally charge. And then if you're in front of it, it'll charge just a little further. And you're like, frustratingly annoying. But, all right, we're still alive. That's the goal. Stay alive. All right, and get over to the tree. You want to touch, you want to get the tree. All right. More damage. Better items, take more hit points, take more speed, and damage. Another gun. We do want this on this guy. More of that. Nice. You guys should, yeah, get down there and talk about that. That'll be good practice for everybody. I'm gonna take this, even though it knocks my range damage down one, because it'll give me more crit. This is also kind of a DPS level because there's just so many enemies, and you got to knock out these dudes because they will make more of these kind of annoying guys. So you want to take them out. If you don't take them out, then the screen will pile up and you won't make it out of this level. So just got to keep going. Also, I do have a penguin now, so I do want to grab these because they'll make my regen higher. And there we go. Gotta take them out so that they don't just lay a bunch of eggs all over the place. We got it. We did not get the egg though. That's not good. Alright, that's annoying. I gotta deal with one of those guys. Kind of a hassle. Alright, we only got 15 more seconds left of the level, so really the goal is just gonna be to keep like it clean a little bit to the end. Yeah, too many enemies everywhere. We did a good job of cleaning them up though, but we didn't get all of them. All right, take some speed, damage, heal, damage, more damage, and speed. That'll be good. All right. Wait, Coffee Online, he said, Het Tennis, how hard would it be to get that logo you generate on the... Which one did you... Brandon, did you do the one with, like, kind of the angry... I can pull that up on stream? You don't mind me pulling that up? Are you okay with that? So we were down study groups yesterday. And, hold on. I think he just... Do you want this one? This angry looking one? You want that one on one? Or do you want, you don't want one of the dark ones, so you don't want that one. You want this one? I would have to pull this down. I would probably just strip this part of the image out, and then I would clear the background, and then I could drop it in the program. Yeah, I could drop it in the program and put it on the page if you wanted it. Yeah, you want that one? That one is pretty funny, right? Because it just looks so angry. It looks like it's mad. Like, do all the Linux. That's funny. Yeah, I'll pull that down later if that's okay. That's funny. That's pretty good. Alright, let's go kill. Wave 10 isn't too bad. There's just these guys that have a lot more hit points than others. But the rest of the enemies on this level aren't too bad. Like we punch a hole in the little guys, and then those little armored guys, well, they're not really armored, they just have more hit points. And the distinction is made on whether or not I do less damage to them. I don't actually do less damage to them like some of the other characters. They have a lot of hit points, so. We want to work over here. We want to kill this guy because that guy will get... Damn it. We want to kill that guy because he'll give us a... if I can get to him. Jeez. Yeah, he gives us a little treasure, so we always want to kill that guy. If we can. We got too many guys on this screen. Too many monsters. I'm not doing enough damage. Yeah, this is not great. Not a great run so far. More damage. We'll take armor. We'll take more damage. More range damage, more damage, more damage, more damage. That's more economy. That'll all be more damage. All right. Linux chat. Yeah, you guys should go down there and talk. Linux chat. It'll be good. We're doing like decent damage, but it's not great damage. And our guy doesn't have any like normally your rounds can go through enemies if you get penetration, but I don't have any of that right now. So my guy's just kind of just derf balling it up a little bit. That's not good. I swear that guy charged further than he should have too. It's like strange behavior. I mean, it's built in obviously, but it's just it's an annoying behavior, that's for sure. Maybe you get used to watching how far the guys charge so that you can be in front of them, and then they charge just a little bit further only sometimes. All right. So we survived the level, but we didn't do great on that at all. Damage. Now we got our first boss. Control Byte, you finished the latest lab? Nice. Yeah, the one with was that the one with Kafka being the endpoint for so the actual hold on. Let's see if I can pull it up here real quick. Repos and patching, identity and access. Huh. Where's this one? It should be logs and parsing right here. Hold on. This is what you were doing in that lab right here. That's the actual like drawing of what you kind of did in that lab. Yeah, so you got some existing company infrastructure and you've got Promtail throwing messages to Loki and Grafana, and then you set up Kafka maybe for some other organization, some other thing, and then control plane starts sending messages into Kafka, or an app sends into the topic system logs, and then you pull it out with Promtail and send it up into the logging structure of the company. Yeah. That's it. If anybody wanted to do that lab, it's right. Let me pull it real quick for you guys. I will. Hold on. Labs right here. Linux labs. Stop that thing from spinning. Yeah, it's this. This is the lab right here that he's talking about. Boom. And we did it just a little while ago in the recording of the course, but then we. Yeah. So that's what we did, and it essentially looks like this when it's all done. Actually, I thought about Control Byte. This isn't in the lab anywhere, is it? This drawing. I thought about putting this in the draw or at the beginning, and saying, and then you could take it. I always tell you guys grab it and put it in a new tab. So I need to put this. I'll put this in here. If you guys have never seen this before, this is a way. I'll show you guys real quick. So let's. I don't know. Save picture as. I don't know. Put it in downloads somewhere. Downloads, and we'll just call this Kafka infrastructure .png. Right. Now we're gonna go take that. I keep forgetting. I fucking all my system had to reboot last night. Like it's kind of an annoyance. But let's go grab that as an asset and throw that image right here. So we'll go grab that image, which is over here in downloads. Copy it. Boom. Drop it into assets here, right? Can I not? Apparently I can't just drop it in there. How do I... Well, hold on. Let's see if I can just copy path. Let's just do this. And then can I just go back to downloads, copy, go back to where I was and drop it right here. There it is. So here's my infrastructure.png. Now I always forget how to link it, but I know I have a reference. So my reference is over in my Kubernetes stuff, like in my troubleshooting stuff. Here's my, oops, not in my troubleshooting, my, like here. There's my canary.png, and when I want to show it to people, it looks like this. So let's do down here in our step 1. All right. I need to update this first step anyways, don't I? This looks like shit. All right. Your team is integrating a new Kafka, or your team is going to be integrating a Apache Kafka let's just say message bus with existing infrastructure. You are setting up a new environment to facilitate the deployment. Let's run this, and we're just going to say examine the proposed architecture and deploy this for your system, or deploy these pieces for this lab. Now, Raft keys doesn't really matter. We'll just call this, and then assets is going to be, instead of canary.png, should be Kafka infrastructure. .png. Control S. Let's save it up. Don't want to change any of that. Don't want to change any of that. Added image to lab, right? Boom. Sync up, and then hopefully I'm gonna go click on the lab that I just linked to you guys, and oh, you know, it might not have pulled just yet, so I'm gonna give it a second. I'm gonna go give it a second here, because when you first go to Killer Coda, I know it's a little bright. It takes a second to pull. So if I come in here to mine, I'll see that it pulled Sunday. It pulled right now. Okay, that's current. So then I'm going to drop into this scenario, and let's just see if that image got added. Control Shift V in VS Code. First off, Control Blade, let me tell you this: I'm not aware of anything. Like, fucking, I don't know shit, man. Like, have you ever seen that meme that's like the girl going, "I don't know shit about fuck"? That's what I feel like all the time in tech. I very rarely know anything that's going on in Control Blade. So anytime you guys show me that, if you can get me to do it a couple times, then that's when it'll work. Hold on. So if I come back here, so you're saying I could go right here. Yeah, I'd never know what's going on, guys. All right, hold on. So if you're saying right here, I can do like Control Shift V. Well, on the plus side, that points to it. So that actually just by hovering over it did it. But if I do, wait, hold on. I thought Control Shift V would copy something. Ah, there you go. Okay. I 100% did not know that. And no, control by I did not. That may be my new favorite thing ever written because now I can look at what my stuff's going to look like. So that's, yeah, that's going to be huge. Yeah, I didn't, no, I didn't in any way know that. So that's good. Control Shift V, good. Good, good. Yeah, yeah. So now I come here and I can say boom. And I always tell people, like, I probably should put it in here. I am a big fan of just opening it in a new tab and then going like this. I wonder if I need to generate that. Because I have that. I have that in Excalidraw. And I wonder if my PNG is just too. You guys see how that's kind of blurry? You can't really see. I mean, you can see it okay, but that's not as good as I'd probably like it. So I might because I have that in Excalidraw, right? I have it over here. So theoretically, I should be able to make a bigger, like, that's what this should look like. Wonder if it's just the way that I grabbed, because I originally just grabbed it and threw it in as a PNG. I thought PNG would just be clean like that. But that's what it should look like right there. Anyways, I will mess with that. I'll try to get that a little more clean. Yeah, it doesn't look as good as I'd like. 624 by. Is that just anybody know? Is that just the way? Let's do this real quick. Let's grab this raw here. Hold on. Here. Snipping tool, right? So I do everything. Snipping tool right there. All right. And then file, save as. And we're going to throw it. Nope, we're going to throw it here in downloads. And we'll call it Kafka infrastructure. I'll rename this real quick. Call that one old. Call this one our new one. Then if we go look at the images here, what is the difference between them? So here's the infrastructure one that I just grabbed, right? Compared to the one that I had. Yeah. So that's yeah. So let's go do this real quick. Let's just grab this new version here. Control C. Go back to where, nope, we'll go back this way to where we were. And we'll paste it over, replace the file in this destination. And then now it should have a new, let's see if that'll do it. And that should now say updated image for 108. I'm mostly the only one that works on labs unless people send stuff in. So it's probably, give it a second here. All right, that out of the way, that out of the way. That's just the that's the doc. And did I close that one out earlier? I probably did. Oh, hold on, guys. I got a call coming in real quick. I gotta take it. All right, you guys should be able to hear me again. Sorry about that. Yeah, one of my friends was calling me to talk about something, so I had to talk to him real quick. All right, let's go real quick. Give this lab a second here. Maybe I still had an older version of that, so let this go. Oh, come on, man. What the hell? I swear this thing's just taking its time. Is that lab just taking a long time to load? It's weird. I'll have to figure out that format. I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. I don't know why. Maybe it's getting sized down for some reason, because that's what it's supposed to look like. I don't know, maybe I could use a different format. I thought PNG was always the same, but I don't really do a whole lot with graphics stuff. I'm not a big graphics guy, so or image type stuff. I thought PNG was always rendered in the format though, so like I didn't think it was going to be shrunk like that. So anyways, I guess that's good enough for government work for now, right? Let that go back to spinning over there. So all right, where am I at here? Got a boss coming up. Got to beat the boss. What boss do we got? Probably one of the worst bosses for this character, because he has armor, and armor is like the biggest thing to stop this guy that I'm using. So now we just got to stay alive, watch out for all these artillery guys, and hopefully put some damage on the boss. But now he's mutated, so now he's way more difficult, and yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to kill the boss, so I'm just going to have to stay away from him, which is also super annoying when that happens. I just there's too many enemies piling up on the screen, so I really can't deal with all the bullshit. Too much BS on the screen. Too much stuff going. Couldn't do it. All right. Yeah, that guy's kind of annoying. We're just gonna go back to the original guy we were playing, which is our little demon. So, but yeah, hopefully, at least some of the stuff is kind of useful to some of you guys. The goal of me ever being on stream like this is really to tell you guys that we've got a group where you guys can go hang out and do Linux with people, get better at doing this stuff, get into this professionally, right? We do it for fun, but also we do it we do this stuff fun, but then we want to also go off and get jobs in this space. So if you're not in the space, the best way to get in there, I think, is to find other people that are in the space and ask them what they're doing, ask them what they're using Linux for, what does the company need Linux for. Companies don't just run, I tell you guys this kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's true. A company doesn't just run Linux to be able to say, like with its other company friends, hey, I run 10, or I run 100 Linux servers. Nobody does that. They run Linux to solve specific problems, right? So that's a big part of kind of what we do, is figure out how we can best fit in with solving problems and stuff. So it's in the technology space, obviously, but anyway, so that's kind of what we do around here, if anybody's wondering. And that's kind of our goal as a group, is to get people doing this stuff kind of professionally. We recorded Unit 6 of the Professional Linux Users Group Security Engineering course earlier today, so I already have that up on YouTube for anybody that wants it. It's in our section on the Discord. It's in the Beginner Start Here section, so if anybody's looking for that, that's there. The books across the bottom of the screen over there on the right, those are like the free, we got the free books for all this stuff, and that's here and here. You can find those in the Discord. or you can just follow those links if you want. Shoot, I should have grabbed that first. Oh well. And then since I'm not really doing too much and I'm just waiting for the wife to get home, I'm playing Brotato while we kind of hang out. And then if anybody wants to talk about the systems or what we kind of do with Linux, we can do that. That's kind of what we do. Other than that, focusing all my concentration on this. So, I will take the harvesting, take the damage. Damage, life, speed, damage, damage, save up for damage, damage. There we go. Not too bad. You get more range damage. Get more range. Get more range. Take more damage. Damage. I have enough luck for that to be any good right now. Hold on to all that stuff. Alright. Alright. Attack speed. Damage. 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 More pass through of damage to more enemies. And I'll take those. Alright. But yeah, we're not really working too hard today. Kind of like Ranger down there. Just hanging out. I do got stuff I gotta redo in the lab. I just don't want to do it right now. I got some stuff to rewrite with the Bastion, but we'll worry about that. We'll worry about that later. Just feels like Sunday morning should be either labs like I normally do. I normally do a bunch of labs today, but we did the security engineering, so I don't really want to do anything. Trying to just relax right now. Not work too hard. Relax the brain a little bit. Also, this is my last quiet day before college starts back up. Both I get to teach, and I've been teaching forever. And then also I'm going back to school starting tomorrow again. So be busy, busy. Super busy. But, I mean, that doesn't really change anything. I'm always kind of busy, right? So just got to figure out what level of that you're going to accept. We'll take the elemental. We'll work on getting our elemental damage up, and then we'll take the frozen heart, and then we'll start getting stuff around that as well. Although normally we don't originally build this guy that way, but if the frozen heart shows up, we do switch him over to more of an elemental. Just more damage. Another way to dig out more damage from a character. We're doing alright damage right now, not great. That's alright. Take more speed. We're not moving very fast. We'll take more damage, more damage. I don't want that. Speed. And we'll hold on to those for more damage. Now this level, the guys are going to take twice as much damage. They got twice as many hit points. Well, not actually, it's not twice as much. Oh, we do give them twice as much more. All right, well, that's a problem. So we've doubled their hit points for a level. So, but all future levels will give us more experience, though. So we definitely want to do it. It's definitely a risk worth taking. But now we just have to make it through the level, knowing that we're doing, you know, it takes twice as much to kill anything. We should be alright, though. We're doing okay. As long as we don't let too many of them gang up on us, we should be pretty good. When those guys have that little ring around them, like a glow, I think it's a blue glow, but I'm colorblind, so it could be purple. They also have even more hit points on top of it. They're cursed, so they have double hit points on top of their double hit points. So that makes them really problematic. But we're doing pretty good. We got good damage, good regen now. Go ahead and take the ghost, and then take even more of all this and that. It's pretty all around pretty good. So now this level is that one where there's the big whale looking guys that you have to just kill before they drop too many eggs everywhere. Not too bad of a level, but you do kind of have to make sure you're doing enough damage. Yeah, we're doing pretty decent damage, so that's good. Alright, oh, this guy's got double hit points again, which is kind of a hassle. But as long as we take out his little eggs, he's not too bad. We'll burn him down over time. Alright, 14 hit points, that's pretty good. Gotta take these guys out because they just kind of close off the... If you don't take... Oh, they do that to you. If you don't take them out. Gotta go make sure these eggs don't get on the screen, that's important. Alright, good. Took him out. 5 more seconds, the level's not going to be able to get us. It's pretty good. Alright. Not too bad. Take more hit points. More damage. Take more range. It's all good. More damage. More damage. More crit, more damage. Damage. More experience, it's huge. And more damage, more damage. Take one more for even more damage. Alright. That's not terrible. Not too bad of a run so far. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about the group, we do have in about... Oh, I was down there looking at that earlier. We do have in the Discord all kinds of stuff going on, right? People are always showing stuff. And then we have a writer's room today. That's in about 5 hours from now. So if anybody wants to go and hang out and work with the guys who are building, they're the ones that are building these right here, the course books. So if you want to get, and there is a contribution, like contributor section. So let's say you were working on these and you wanted to be a contributor to have something on a resume because maybe you have nothing on your resume. You could at least have your name on a contributor's thing. Now, again, that's going to be some work or whatever, but they've already laid the groundwork. You really just got to get in there and help out if you want to get involved with that. That's the writer's room. That's free for everybody. We have, I'd say it says 17 interested there, but I see anywhere between like 15 and 20 people down there normally when they run that. Those guys are also the ones that are doing the courses. So, like, if you have questions about the course and any of that kind of stuff, I always tell people at least go stop by and see if like somebody can get you started. They'll help you out if you're kind of a, if you're not like a self-starter and you want to like have somebody else show you something, they'll probably do it for you. Although that's not the purpose of it. I would say you don't derail them, but near the end, feel free to ask about that stuff. There's a study group for the Linux admin course. There's a study group for the security engineering course. So those are the two courses that we're running free right now in the Discord. Bash study group. Colchis runs that. It's actually funny. Where's my thing busted? Hold on. All right. Should be back. There he goes. All right. Bash study group. Look, they got a lot of people in there. A lot of people show up for that. And it's just working through Bash. If you guys struggle with Bash or you want to get better at it, understand some of these shortcut structures that people like to use, I highly advise spending time with that kind of stuff. The actual Linux admin course is on Saturdays. So we're doing that. And then this Saturday, I'm running a little group where, guys, I claim no great expertise in streaming. I'm definitely not a good streamer by any means of that. But what I can do is at least show you guys all the tricks and pitfalls that I've done and dealt with. And I can show you guys how to set up OBS if you've never done it before. I can show you like how you can put a green screen up and then pad down, because I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. Even until recently, I didn't know how to pad it down. So I used to have to always move my green screen real close. But now I know how to do all that other crap. There's just all kinds of little tips and tricks that like nobody ever showed me that I'd rather just kind of show people in the community. That's going to be free. You can hang out. And, maybe you're just like, oh, shoot, I don't know what a stream key is. Well, I'll show you guys how you go get a stream key if you want to stream to. Maybe you don't even want to be on Twitch. Maybe you do want to be on Twitch. Maybe you want to be on YouTube, or you want to be over on, let's say you're interested in being on Noise or something like that. There's all kinds of different ones. You can stream to multiple platforms out of OBS, and you can stream not only to multiple platforms out of OBS, but you can also, with Twitch terms of service changing a few years back, you can stream to multiple platforms while streaming on Twitch. That used to be a limitation you weren't allowed to do if you were a Twitch streamer, if you were an affiliate or also, we can talk about what it takes to be an affiliate, that kind of stuff, at least on the Twitch side. YouTube side, I just kind of became a YouTube partner. Like, it's kind of weird. It was like last year, and it was like, I wouldn't say overnight, but it was in like a week. It just happened. It was really weird. I accidentally put a video up that was really popular. Had like 200,000 views. So, and when I say really popular, I mean relative to a guy that's teaching people how to do Linux. Fucking nothing that does Linux is ever going to be super popular. However, people are always going to need this, and this is always going to be something that can get you a job, I think, or consulting if you want, right? So. Then I'm going to do on Sunday night that week. This starts next week. Not this weekend. It starts next weekend. So not tonight, next week. We're going to do our academic stuff. So some of you guys know I'm working on my PhD. I'm working on doctorate in systems engineering and different things around that. So if you guys want to come and learn how to read research, I don't know if you guys know this, all the research in the world is out there for you. Scholar.google, you got everything. But not all research is as valuable. And even if it is, even if we said, okay, all things that have ever been published are the exact same weight of value, how you read and interpret it is a skill that you have to develop. So I'll show you guys in there. We'll talk a little bit about reading research, what you're looking for, what it means to be an empirically sourced article as opposed to something that's just reviewing something else, and what the implications of that are. And what kind of weight I think you should give to things. But again, it's one of these things where you're going to be your own engineer and your own academic, so you're going to have to find out how you weigh things. And then the big ones coming up, these aren't until August, but all of our ProLUG stuff. These are all this is our this will be our 11-year anniversary for ProLUG, and it'll be our 6-year anniversary on Discord. So we get, it looks not too big because people haven't really been finding this yet. But when this starts going, we'll have a few hundred people come to this, so it gets pretty popping. I have a whole bunch of different guest speakers. I think I even put out who's coming for now. I think I put that in Where is that? I think it's in conferences. Yeah, here's our tentative schedule for those 2 days, and then we'll have the day before. I'll try to get maybe one or two other guys to come out and talk. But the dates are right, but the times are wrong. So don't worry about the times. Plus, they're not in your local time anyways, probably. But I'm going to kick off with my Y engineering presentation. I'm going to add to it a little bit. My brother Tom is going to talk data analytics. And if you guys don't know, he runs data analytics. Well, he just moved over to a new role where he's running a pretty big project for a pretty big insurance company here in the U.S. He's running a project that's I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you it's over 100 million a year that this project does for within his company, and he's in charge of all the data analytics for it. So I'll let him tell you more about that. He talked last year, and he talked football, and it was actually a really good talk on pulling data out of data sets. So he was looking at who's the best running back, but extrapolating it out from who played what and what defenses were there and all these kind of things, and does the quarterback prefer throw? He did all this stuff to analyze who was actually the best the best running back. And there was some really good stuff because he does that for a lot of, well, he does it for himself because he does a lot of fantasy football. So there's that. Salty Catfish is going to come and talk about pro framing. He's one of our programmers. King Buns is also one of our programmers. He's going to come and talk the second day. And then Control Byte and Sending Grounds are doing their stuff. KYSEC or whatever said, I have a laptop I used to have Windows on, but I installed Garunda. I don't even know what Garunda is. No other repo, but I really want to install Arch and Hyperland. It looks so smooth, but how much of a headache is it? Well, there's different levels of headache when it comes to like putting Linux on anything. I'm just going to go ahead and start with, like, for me, putting Linux on like a laptop is probably going to start out at like a 70% headache. Like, I'm just going to have a headache doing it because that's so much of a one-off. I'm normally putting Linux on server hardware and it's standardized, and then I'm pushing it across a bunch. And when I say a bunch, I mean thousands or tens of thousands of systems that are exactly the same. But anyways, where I'm going with that is I ditched Linux as a desktop probably. Last time I ran it professionally as a desktop was in 2020. Last time I ran it personally as a desktop was probably 2012, because the desktop on the Linux side is just always bad. So when people ask me about Linux, for me it's always, command line to a server. That's how I do all my work. But anyway, so to answer your question, it's probably going to be a lot of work, and you're probably going to work on it the rest of the time you have it. That's my base answer for it. Nothing wrong with doing it. I think it would probably be good as a practice and a good experience for you if you don't do a lot of Linux. Now, if you said, Scott, should I do that to like get a bunch of skills to get ready to get in the industry? I would tell you absolutely not. That's not at all where I would spend my time. I would spend my time with RHEL. I would spend my time with SUSE or SUSE if you really wanted to. And then as the last of those, I would say Ubuntu, because those are all enterprise level Linux. Arch, fine. There's nothing wrong with Arch for home and hobbyists and stuff. I tell you guys this all the time. It's just you've never found a company that runs Arch. So, like it's one of these things where it's fine, like for hobbyists, but it's not professional. So, if you're doing nothing, doing something in the command line is better than nothing. But then after that, I would just tell you, okay, All right. So anyways, Control Byte, Sending Grounds, and King Buns are coming on the 10th. So those are the people that we have talking for now to the group. All right, let's keep going with it. I'm gonna keep playing my game. Let's get out of here. I'm gonna have to figure out why that image is all bashed up like it is. And then, did I miss a ranger check? How did I miss a ranger check? I didn't see anything about that. Coffee over land wanted to check on Ranger. So there's Ranger. I know that was a while ago. He might not even be around anymore still, but there we go. All right. I keep playing here. You guys know it's Sunday. We already did our recording for the day, so I'm really just kind of messing around today. And the main goal of my messing around whenever I am streaming is to let you guys know that we've got a Discord, place where you can hang out with other engineers and talk shop, because I do think it's valuable for you guys to talk with other engineers and see what people are doing, right? We do have a fair number of Arch enjoyers in the group. I'm not saying you can't do Arch, guys. I'm just saying it's not what's going to get you the job. Maybe at first, like if you're doing zero Linux, I would tell you to do Arch to get some Linux. But once you're, once you're saying like, hey Scott, I'm having a hard time getting a job and all I have on my resume is Arch, I'd be like, I'd probably change that. Like you got to go. It would be like if you're telling me, hey Scott, I'm fishing over in this, I'm fishing over in this pond and no fish are ever biting, and I'm like, well, there's no fish in that pond. We already knew that. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Arch. It's just we knew that there's nobody in the Arch pond. We knew that. Like no companies. So, we got to go to where the fish are, right? There's an old Sam. You guys know who Sam Kennison is? He was this comedian, and he had this skit that was pretty dark about go to where the food is. We're going to keep coming out here and bringing you food, but this is the desert. There's never going to be food out here. And it's kind of this dark little skit on food in the desert. And that's how I feel about a lot of this is like, you got to go to where the actual stuff is. So, all right. I'm not going to go too much into that, but let's keep playing this. Biggest reason I want to switch to Linux Garunda is because it's nice. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with having a Linux desktop. At the end of the day, for me, whatever the desktop is, as long as I can get to this, I don't care, right? As long as I can get to my environment, I can do anything once I get. And this is PuTTY. Most people are like, PuTTY's like too basic, and I'm like, well, all I need is standard input, standard output, right? That's all I need. So, we do everything. But yeah, I mean, you're just, when you ask about like a headache, I'll tell you, you're going to be manually doing everything. Nothing's going to work out of the box. And we know that, right? That's also true of using Linux in the enterprise. It's just, there's not going to be any reusability of any of that work. Like, you're not going to be able to say, yeah, like, I set up ZFS on Arch and that's a really good project or whatever. And somebody's going to be like, well, we really want somebody that has, set up Ceph on RHEL. So, sorry. That's at least that's been my experience in my career on it, if that's any help. All right. Let's go to level 11. Let's see how this, I forget what's in this level, but all right. Try not to run into any of those little things anymore. But I've never played with Garunda. I don't even know what that is. Probably just a desktop package for Arch or something. Yeah. All right. We'll go check that out. I don't know anything about that version. Oh, that's a tough one. Do you want to take the Peacock and get 50% more damage, but also 100% more XP on a wave that's going to be just a massive amount of enemies? And I say yes. And then just take even more damage and more range. That's fine. And let's see what else. Take more range, more attack speed, and nothing else. All right, we'll go fight this. It's going to be a horde wave. It's going to be a whole lot of enemies. But hopefully we do enough. We're doing enough damage and we're doing well enough that we will. We started at 15 hit points. Let's see how many hit points we can get to. This character spends his max HP. That's how he buys stuff in the shop. He's a unique character in that way. But that also, we are using items that make our high-end. So we're already up to 35. Oh, don't die, don't die. Oh man, not good. Not good. I don't think I'm gonna make it, guys. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I make it. Oh no. can't. The staying around the edges will get you still, even if you. Damn it. That freaking game. All right, I'm all done playing that crap. Pissing me off. Let's pull this up. We'll get this out of the way. Pull this over here. Pull this over here. We can review a little bit what we're doing. If anybody missed this week, I doubt anybody did miss this week, but if you did miss this week on Unit 6, we were doing mostly firewall stuff. Stop this here. We were doing mostly firewall stuff, and as we were doing firewalls, we also did a little bit with no-hup commands, so we were working out of like a Rocky 19 server. Make sure nobody's in here. Yeah, okay, good. Alright, so here's our Rocky box, and we wanted to go and maybe look at how maybe screen works in here. Oh, we don't have screen, so DNF install screen maybe on the system, right? And we can go look, and there's screen, and we can add it. You can also use tmux. I mean, I know a fair amount of admins and engineers that like tmux. That's fine. So then we look at, and we see that there's no screen running on this box, but we could then run screen inside of here. Now, we're already on a screen session, which is a no-hup environment that we use. And for me, one of the main things that'll kind of be a game changer for you in the Linux world is if you use a tool like Putty, or I don't care how you connect into a system. There's a whole bunch of different ways to connect into systems. But let's say I go to my P01 Jump 01 in my home lab, right? And if I connect like this, and I go right here, and I log in as some user, right? And we get this user up right here. And then I'm doing something in here, like I'm running, let's just say I'm running a loop like this. Right? So this is going to loop forever till the end of time. It's going to sit there and loop. 1 second, every 1 second it's going to do it. But if I hit this button right here, does this still run? Is that still running on that system? Like if I go connect back in, right? I go connect back in there. And then I do, I do that same command, but I maybe look for it. So I do a psef grep for like while. Don't see it. Maybe I grep for like sleep. Don't see it. Maybe there's a sleep running. I don't know where that sleep is running from. I'll have to go find it one of these days. But yeah, that sleep's not run. Like what I'm doing on the system isn't running anymore anywhere, right? But if I did something like this, where maybe I did maybe a background on it. So we could do, let's do it. I don't know if we can do this to the whole command. But we could maybe run this whole thing like this with let's put a no-hup on the front. And yeah, that might not work. Yeah, it's not going to work. So let's say we had a process that was running. Maybe we were even running like a bash script or something. Then inside of that bash script, we were doing this. And we no-hupped that. So let's take this right here. Right? And we see these like temp. VI some file. Doesn't matter. .sh even, just to be fun. And then we'll go make our little shebang line. Whoops. Right. And then maybe we drop that in. Don't I have that? We just write it. While true, do, right? We could do it on the same line, uptime, and then we can say sleep. And I like to do, actually you don't really need the, that's fine. We'll say sleep to, and then we'll say done, right? Chmod it to 755 on some file, and then now we can run somefile.sh and it'll do that same thing, right? That same little thing that's happening. So yeah, so we'll do that, right? And then we're going to no-hup that script. But actually, even before that, we're going to background that script. So if I background the script, and now the script is running in the background, then I can do, oh, it's taken over. and I do jobs, right? I'll see that backgrounding thing, and I can foreground that script, so foreground 1, and now it would come to the foreground, and I would lose my terminal session, which I had already just been blowing standard over the top. If I kill this, does that keep running? No, the answer is no. Because that was a child of that bash, and it was not no-hupped. So now we're going to go back in there again, p01 jump 01, and we're going to check something else. We're going to say, some user. And now we're going to cd to temp, and we're going to try to run that same thing again. But now when we do that no-hup, we're going to no-hup it. So now we're going to no-hup it and put it on the background. And now that process, if we do a psef grep-i for some file, that process is running. We can even validate it over here on this system. Right here. So now we do, let's do something real quick. We'll say while true, do psef grep. We don't need the -i. And like that. Right? So now we do that, and we're just going to let that run on this system. And now I'm going to kill this. And it's still running. So, let me go pull up another. And this is probably getting annoying, right? Like, keep opening putty sessions. That's fucking a nightmare. So what we really want to do is have a tool, like I like to use Screen for it, where I don't have to do these disconnects. I can be connected into a system, and then that's used as my jump box to go everywhere else in my environment. So this is kind of one of my, things that I like to do. So let's go back in there real quick. And my user. I get in there, and then maybe I do kill -9 66128. Right, just kill it. We see it's dead over here. It's gone. Gone. But now we come back over here, and just to test our stuff from earlier, we cd back into temp, and we can do it from anywhere, but we'll go back into temp, and we'll run that, but without the no-hup this time. So now we see it running over here again, and it's tied to the original shell. And when I kill this shell, because I didn't no-hup it, gone again. Right, dead. Watch. Boom. Exit. So, real quick, as we learn the behavior of a thing, this was the no-hupped original run here. Well, not the original, but the one where we no-hupped it. And when the parent process ID, which was my bash shell in that terminal, died, the process became owned. The parent ID went back to 1, which is systemd for the system. And the process continued on because it had been no-hupped. No-hup just says don't kill the child when the parent leaves if there's a parent process that the child belongs to. Typically, if the parent process gets killed, like bash, you lose all your child processes, but not in a no-hupped environment. It actually says don't kill the orphans, because it would be an orphaned process. The orphaned process gets owned then by systemd. So that's what happened here. Then I killed it, and that's when it got killed. And then we started running it again, but not in a no-hup. And when that died, the process died for real. So this is one of those things that you can kind of play with. But instead of building those yourself and writing those own things, you have like the tools that'll do it, like Screen. And for me, I like to use Screen because I can just I have my little Screen RC file that kind of governs everything that goes on in here. And across the bottom, it'll just keep adding more screen sessions, more terminal windows, and I can jump between my terminal windows down here, and I can rename them. So now demo stream is going to be over here, and my lab server over here, and my werewolf right here, and I have all the different stuff that's going on in my cluster tracked. Yeah, no-hup to the systemd orphanage. That's actually funny. It's actually funny. I didn't realize that that's exactly what happened, but I kind of knew that it had to be owned by some parent ID process. I just didn't realize it went under systemd like that. So, did you have a gifted sub? Oh man. So sometimes only know this from doing other Twitch stuff. Sometimes, like, if you don't hit the little button to like share something, it doesn't tell anybody. But I don't see it anywhere. So it doesn't show it to me. Oh, you got gifted a sub by. Oh yeah, that sucks. All right. Oh, by the way, guys, even though this is a funny thing here, so we're in the in here. One of the things that happened was, we ended up talking yesterday for about an hour and 40 minutes in the course. And then today when I recorded, it was in about an hour and 25 minutes. And if you guys know anything about the courses, I try to keep each lesson to about an hour. Well, we went way over this week, and I didn't even get like all the stuff I wanted to for logs and parsing in. We didn't do any logs and parsing. I showed you some stuff, but we didn't do any in the labs. All we did was build out the different architectures. So it's like, it's one of these things where it's, man, we have like 10 hours of work for the week for you guys to work through stuff, but it could easily have been like 100 hours if you really wanted to dig in. One of our guys, I don't know if he's still around, but Coffee Over Land, he's learning Splunk for his work, and it's like, we could talk about Splunk for an hour, but like there's courses online for Splunk that are like hundreds of hours of time. You got to spend some time with that tool to get good with it, right? So whatever you're doing, spend some time with this stuff. But anyways, that's kind of what this is. And then there's a bunch of key definitions and terms that I think that you just need to spend some time with. If you're going through a sysadmin course and you're trying to be a better sysadmin, what I always tell people is find anything in here that you don't know what it means. Like maybe you've heard DMZ a lot, but you've never heard of DMZ in the context of a firewall. That'd be a good thing to go look up. What does it mean to have a DMZ on like a Cisco PICs back in the day, but now ASA firewalls? Well, DMZs are a lower trusted zone than your internal, but they're higher trust than the external untrusted. So typically you have an internal trusted and external untrusted, but you might have, and that used to be represented by like 101, and then 1 and 100, I think, and then 50 right in the middle was your DMZ. And the DMZ would allow more traffic in for things like front-end servers and load balancers and stuff. But then maybe your internal servers and maybe even your web servers would be out there in the DMZ. And then your internal stuff that's only being able to be talked to from out on those trusted in the DMZ is like your back-end databases and your back-end mem caches and Elastics or whatever you're doing. Whatever kind of things are going on. Hey, Chris, how's it going? And Alex over on the YouTube side. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're not working too hard today. I will tell you guys, of all the Linux desktops I've seen over the years that have been working for people, the ones that I've seen the most used by professionals is Fedora. Whenever the Red Hat guys would come in, back when I was because I used to be the platform lead for AAA, I'd have a fair amount of Red Hat guys that would come out each year to work with us on stuff, and they mostly ran Fedora on their desktop. So if I were going to recommend a desktop to anybody, it would probably be Fedora. But it would also mostly be because of the fact that it's so close to Red Hat. That would be the main reason I would recommend a desktop if somebody was going to run that. But that being said, even though Fedora is the most up there, and Ubuntu, look, I ran Ubuntu all through college. So like 2006, 2011, I ran Ubuntu. I get it, right? But it's just, man, it's not the experience of like a Mac or a even sadly to say Windows. Like there's things that just work that the desktop environment for Linux is just not. There's not enough people working on it. There's not enough. There's no there's definitely no monetary incentive because no company that you guys know is planning on switching all their people over to a Linux desktop. The only ones I ever dealt with were the high technology engineers coming out of Red Hat, and they would be working directly with us, and they could build their own Fedora on their laptops. But nobody else have I ever seen like run that. And then when I worked as the architect at Best Western for all their Ansible, they let me build my own internal desktop, and I just built it right on RHEL. So, yeah. But even then, it's like all I ever do is get to this. So as long as I can get to a command prompt, I don't really care what else I'm doing. So, there's 2 discussion posts for this week that deal with. I think this is funny. Maybe nobody else thinks this is as funny as I do. But for this week, for the Linux sysadmin course, the scenario is you get an application ticket. You get a ticket coming in. You're an admin, right? This is what happens. And some of the servers your team built have not been reporting to enterprise monitoring. There's no data. There's no data coming out of those servers. So you jump on the new servers and you see that the agents are there. You've got 3 agents: Node Exporter, Ceph Exporter, and Logstash Exporter. Those are 3 things that you guys build, you put on your servers. And they also turned on this new firewall D, and nobody's documented the ports that need to be open. So that's the problem. You found the problem. The agents are there, the firewall's on, the firewall's not set to allow those ports. How are you going to allow the ports, right? And we do this in the lab. We do this in the lab, a basic version of this. But in the discussion, I make you go back and think about it a little bit, and then maybe do a little bit of write-up of what you would do. And then you answer the questions. As you're looking it up, what new terms and concepts are there for you? What are the ports that you need to expose? There are definitions for all of these ports, well-known definitions. And then what are you going to do to fix it on your firewall? Are you just going to deploy it right there? Or are you going to document it and make sure that it's in your build procedures for the future? This is, that's your discussion on what you guys want. Those discussion posts, if you're ever looking for them, are down here in the course discussion posts for the group. And you can actually search for things. So I could say like Unit 5, and it would give me all the Unit 5 stuff. And then I can say only the security course stuff for Unit 5. Boom. Or only the admin course stuff. Boom. I think there's another one. Yeah, those are the only ones in here. We also have a like Q&A, so people have been asking questions down here. So you got a Q&A, and that's for both courses. So there's that. Well, yeah, Red Hat, yeah, Fedora's, yeah, it's upstream desktop, right? All right, what's going on in food? Anybody got anything good? Somebody was doing a seafood boil. Oh man, we're gonna have to make Robodom make us food. I think Robodom's working though, so he's probably busy right now. You guys notice when you come in the server, the bot talks trash. Just ignore the bot. You can also do other stuff with the bot. You can ask it questions. Ask what is a kernel namespace and why should I use it? And the bot will tell you all kinds of stuff about systems and stuff. Yeah, Chris, he put a seafood boil together, so we're gonna have to like make him do it for everybody. We got a bunch of events coming up. You guys can go check out the events and all that good stuff. What else are we doing here? Yeah, we got a Rocky server. You can come in here, and then if you're doing the questions, here's the questions. Now, this one's funny. I think this is, again, very funny. I'm amusing myself all the time when I write these. A manager heard that you were the one that saved the new application by fixing the firewall. So you did good work, and now you've made yourself new work. They get your manager to approach you with a request to review some documentation from a vendor that is pushing them hard to run a web application firewall in front of their web application. You are the firewall guy now. They actually call you the firewall guy in their emails now. And if you don't think that's going to happen to you as a Linux engineer, I promise you it will. I remember I was on my Linux team. We did a tabletop exercise one time that was like, it was like a 3-week tabletop exercise where we were like standing up servers out in the sandbox and making sure that we could go from like, it's almost like a pilot light to like a running system, but we weren't using AWS because we already did stuff in AWS. So we had this third-party vendor that we were able to stand up into their infrastructure, and we were doing all this stuff. And I just did some good support or whatever. And from then on, I was the DR guy. I was already the platform lead, so I guess the DR didn't really matter that much to me. But I'm just saying, like, emails would be going back and forth, and then I'd get looped in on them, asking about some configuration or something that we did during the thing, and they'd be like, "Oh, let's ask the DR guy from the Linux team," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I don't want to be the DR guy from the Linux team," but it just kind of like one of those things that happens to you. So you're the firewall guy now, and they're going to ask you to give them a review of the differences between the firewall which you set up and the WAF. So now you got to compare and contrast a web application firewall, which is very, very focused on all the layers, but mostly layer 7. And how is that different than like the network up to layer 4, right? Network through the different layers of like the networking side of things, and how do they differ? And should you run 2 firewalls? The core of that question is, should you ever run 2 firewalls on a system? And the answer is always, it depends, right? You should have a system layer firewall on most systems. Any security posture and organization nowadays calls for that. But then you're allowing stuff in on port, HTTPS port 443 or 8443. So you're allowing that in. We know that's coming in. But should there be a web application firewall in front of it, and what should that kind of look like, right? So that's what this question is. And then there's a bunch of those same definitions, digging deeper. And then we got a lab, right? Lab on firewalls makes you do a whole bunch of firewall stuff. All right, so that's the we're not going into that right now. We recorded that. That's already recorded for Unit 6 of the Linux Admin Guide. And then the Linux Systems Admin course, this is a completely free course. You just have to go and start it if you guys are interested in starting it. And then the Security Engineering course is right here. Here's the course objectives for it. So really at the end of the day, that stuff is just get in there and start getting involved, right? That's what we're doing there. So yeah. I got stuff I got to do in the home lab too. I just don't want to do any of it right now. We can also zoom in on this. I had zoomed that out for it being on a smaller screen, but we'll make it a little bigger now. So yeah, that's what we're working on. I'll probably I guess I just hopped on here to hang out with you guys for a little bit, but I'll probably hop off. Maybe we'll go raid somebody on the Twitch side and find something worth doing. Yeah, we'll go find somebody to raid over here. Maybe somebody's doing something fun. Let's see who's on. Who am I following that's on right now? Yeah, I don't know anybody that's on, so we won't bother raiding. But I will see some of you guys later on this week. We'll be down in the Discord hanging out. And, yep, talk to you guys then. Take care.